Hey fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter Factor Live on SIFTD.net. I'm Michael Pachter, your host. SIFTD is available for your support from Patreon. If you're a patron on Patreon, thank you. You can also support us through YouTube as a subscriber. If you're doing either of those, or if you're not, please try to remember to link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account. Shane will get paid. If you do that, it costs you nothing to link your Twitch Prime account, your Amazon Prime account. So if you don't know how to do that, look in the show description below and you'll see instructions on how to do it. Again, it is free if you're a Prime member. It is covered by Amazon. God knows why they want to pay Shane, but they're really dying to, and they're waiting for you to please ask them to do it. You have to renew that every couple of months, so if you haven't done it in a while, check out the show description, get the instructions, and go ahead and link through. It's about 3 clicks, and you'll be done. Let's get to the question for Pachter Factor Live. What are your impressions of the Nintendo Switch 2? When Nintendo realized that the console had been leaked out, should it have accelerated the debut? I think that they did, of course, accelerate the debut. The right question before I get into impressions is, is it good to do an online announcement of something a couple of months before you're ready to show anything? They've said there'll be a Nintendo Direct. I want to say April 2nd. It could be April 3rd, but April 2nd. And that they will have customer experiences in 15 different cities beginning on April 3rd. So I think it's 5 in the US, 5 in Europe, 5 in Asia, Oceania, however you say it, Australia, Singapore. But there's 15 cities, literally I think it's like Milan and London and LA and San Francisco. But you're going to get your hands on it in April and May. So they're already beginning manufacture. Why did they launch it with just screenshots, without specs, without price, without launch date? They did it because they were pressured into it because there had been leaks. And what's the guy's name? Nate the Hate. I don't know who the guy is. I've heard his name, but I don't know him. I've heard he's actually a pretty reliable source and that people tell him stuff. So he got it right. He had the right date and everything. If I was Nintendo, I would have just done it a day earlier or a day later just to prove him wrong, but they didn't. I think it hurts the consumer reaction when you give us some but not enough. I think when you announce something, it should say coming in July at $349 with Mario Kart 9. You should have all the details that will drive the consumer to make a purchase and to reserve a copy. And leaking out just a screenshot and saying it's coming and look at the extra buttons we put on the device isn't usually enough to get people very excited. So the reaction was kind of meh. I don't think we saw anything we didn't see at CES. And I think I covered this in Pachter Factor Live last week. We saw pretty much the same device at CES. So let me tell you my impressions. There were actually some reveals in that press release, even though I don't think Nintendo knew that they revealed stuff. One thing that I picked up is that the Mario Kart shot that they showed had 24 lanes, 24 multiplayer. Mario Kart 8 is 12. So this is a different game. And that tells me it's Mario Kart 9. Showing that picture with the Switch 2 tells me that's a launch title. So will it come out in June or July when the Switch 2 comes out, or is it a Christmas title? I don't know. But we're going to find out as soon as April 2nd because they're going to tell us. So I think that the delayed gratification, we get the picture and the extra buttons, but we don't even know what they do, is not enough for people. And, we don't know if the thing's going to be priced at $350 or $700. My bias is it'll start with a 3, be $350 or $399. My bias is that the Switch 1 will go on sale and then be discontinued shortly thereafter. I expect Switch 1 to maybe sell 10 million more and then it's done. And I don't think all 10 million is this year. I think they'll sell 6 or 7 million the rest of this year and then 3 or 4 next year and then it's done. And the reason I think that, and this goes to my impressions, is it is highly unusual for a console manufacturer to make a console that is backward compatible, but Nintendo chose to do that, and this is apparently very close to fully backward compatible. There was an announcement or a statement in the announcement that it would be backward compatible for most Switch games. I don't know if that means third-party games that won't work or first-party. We don't know which games won't work, but it sounds pretty backward compatible. But it's also customary for a next-gen console to have software that supports only the next-gen console. And I think that where consumers have been lulled into a false sense of security is that when the PS5 launched and the Xbox Series launched, everybody who made software for those consoles still made it for the older consoles. So they still made PS4 and Xbox One software. So Call of Duty and the formerly called FIFA, now EA Sports Football Club, and Madden, those all were available both on next gen and old gen, and they weren't next gen exclusives. That's what third parties do, because third parties want to sell to the largest installed base. And with the Xbox and the PlayStation, where 90% of software sales are third party, totally makes sense if you're a third party to support both consoles. If you look at the Switch, 80% of Switch dollar software sales are Nintendo first party. I mean, it might not be 80% of titles, but it's 80% of dollars. The vast majority of third-party titles are the $10, $15, $20 titles like Stardew Valley, Golf Story kind of games, which are great, but they aren't big in terms of the percentage of dollar sales. And there's no chance that Nintendo is going to support the Switch. They're going to support Switch 2 only. You're going to get Mario Kart 9, and it's going to be a Switch 2 exclusive, and you're going to be forced to trade up if you want to play that game. So I think the cool thing, and you kind of know that, the 24 multiplayer, that's a big file. That's a big game. That's a complex game. Graphics are going to matter with 24 cars on the screen. I also think that's a big seller for Nintendo Switch Online. I think that, with 24 players, you're far more likely to get into playing multiplayer with actual other players. And so I think you're going to get a big spike in Nintendo Switch Online sales. So I'm pretty excited about the device. The idea that they're doing customer experiences as soon as April 3rd tells me that the device is being manufactured now. Because they're not going to create 200 prototypes and then run them from city to city to city. They're going to make 100,000 prototypes, and they aren't prototypes. They're going to be line manufacture, and they can't afford to have the prototypes break and then they have to cancel the next city. So my guess is they started manufacture the day after. So they announced this on the 16th. They started manufacture on the 17th. If they haven't yet, the 20th. I mean, it's going to happen. And the question is, how many do they make? Well, history is a pretty good guide. When the Wii came out, they made 14 million and sold out. And the next year they made 19 million and sold out. And the next year they made 21 million and sold out. And then they sold 25. The Switch, they made, I want to see here, I have the number right here, 15 million the first year. Mostly sold out, but not all the way. It was kind of balanced. Then 17, then 21, then 28. So that's how many they actually sold. And so the number that they're going to make is somewhere between the Wii 14 million and the second year demand, for the Switch 17. I think they're going to make 16. Could I be wrong? Could it be 18? Sure. Could it be 21? Sure. The reason they won't make more is that manufacturing cost drops over time. So let's just pretend that the device sells for $350. There's about $50 in transportation cost and retailer margin. You let the retailer have $50. The $300 goes to Nintendo. The goal is make a device for $200 and sell it for $350. Give the retailer $50, you keep $100 profit, and it costs you $200 to make. The problem with startup manufacturing is they never cost $200 at the beginning. The first units cost more because there's spoilage. They don't make everything perfectly for an assembly line, and finish isn't perfect. You have to reject some, and it takes about 6 months to a year before you get manufacturer perfect. That's why they say don't ever buy the first model year of a car, because they make mistakes and they figure it out after a year. So the first year's worth, let's assume they're going to charge $350, probably going to cost them $300 to make. And the second year will cost them $200, and thereafter less than $200. They want to make a profit, so they don't want to give away very many at cost. So they always limit manufacture, and then there's another benefit to limiting manufacture. you drive, demand by getting everybody saying, oh my God, I've been looking everywhere for a Switch 2 and I can't find it anywhere. That's pretty cool, and I think that Nintendo likes that. They thrive on that. So I'm going to bet 16 million the first year, but I think then it jumps to 25. I think they will be at 25 the next year. And to be honest, because of the way they're managing the software lineup, they've been doing a flawless job for 6 or 7 years between, all the different Mario, Smash Brothers, Mario Kart now, Zelda, Pokemon. I think you're going to get a steady lineup just like you've had the last 7 years. 3 or 4 decent titles a year with one system seller every year. And that first one's going to be Mario Kart 9, which I think is going to have nearly 100% attach rate to the Switch 2. So I think you're going to get an acceleration of sales, because even though the new device plays your old software, you need it to buy the new software and you're going to want it. I think they beef up Switch Online, not just because of Mario Kart, but I think they can start giving you some of these old Switch titles for free as part of Switch Online, and so you can throw in the old Animal Crossing for free if you join Switch Online. Lots of things like that they can do. So I frankly think Nintendo's just going to crush it. The market seems kind of unimpressed because it doesn't know, and so we've got to wait till April 2nd until we get pricing. We've got Trump being sworn in on January 20th, so he said his first day he's going to get eggs back in the grocery store. He's going to end the war in Ukraine, and tariffs on every imported item. If he imposes 100% tariffs like he's talking about on the Switch, throw everything I just said out the window. It's not going to sell well at all. If it's $700, no way. Consumers aren't going to pay it, and they'll be lucky to sell 5 million units. So we have to see what he does. I am hopeful that he isn't quite as stupid as I think he is, and that his advisors impress upon him that you don't really want to alienate every parent and every kid on the planet by putting tariffs on game consoles. I actually think you don't want to intimidate everybody or piss off everybody by putting tariffs on Toyotas. That's a Japanese item. We can't afford to put 100% tariffs on cars. That's just dumb. It's one thing if you want to say we'll put tariffs on unsafe Chinese electric vehicles. You can do that, but you can't do it on Toyota trucks. That would just mean that Toyota drivers would be angry, and I don't see it. So we'll find out next week. And if tariffs are not imposed on Japanese imports, Nintendo. It's going to be great. So that's my early impressions. Should they have done it in person? Yes. The best reveals have been invite the media, to a hotel ballroom in New York City and let us all get hands-on it and let us see it. And that'll happen, with these consumer experience events. But it would have been better because every article would have said, my God, how awesome was it? And I played Mario Kart, and how awesome was it? And we played 24 player, and you missed all that. So this reveal just doesn't have the buzz of other ones. And I'm pretty sure, there was a Switch event in 2017 because I went to it. I think it was it New York? I think it was New York. Because it was right before GDC, and we all were surprised they did it the week before. But they invited us and said, you kind of have to come. And we all knew what it was. But we had our hands on it, and it was cool. So I think that was same. I remember the Wii and the Wii U both. Same. For those of you who are Pachter Factor followers and critics, this is the Wii 2 that I've been promising for the last 15 years. So the Switch 2, they at least named it right. I feel really good about that. And again, if you are a Patreon patron or a YouTube subscriber, Shane very much appreciates your support. I get none of it. I won't even take a gift from him. He and I were bickering about this right before the show shoot. If you can remember, please, no matter whether you're a subscriber or not, to link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account. That's free money for Shane. You are sticking it to Amazon. Trust me, they're charging you plenty otherwise. But get those two accounts linked. The instructions on how to do so are in the show description below. And if you're not doing any of those things, follow me on Blue Sky. I will eventually tweet there. I don't have permission yet to post there, but you don't have to follow me on Twitter. I'm kind of over Twitter now. I will see you guys next week with Pachter Factor Live. Thanks again.